Hi everybody, I am going to review what we learned in class yesterday, all of these vocab words, and I am on section 3.4 of the notes. I'm going to go through quickly what we learned in class yesterday and then apply it to what happens if the lines are parallel and how can we figure out certain angle measures. So here's a picture that I had drawn on the board in class yesterday. Remember, you can turn this picture, you can twist it, but do you remember why I have pink colored in on the inside? Because that denotes our interior angles. Interior means on the inside of the two lines. And this line I had drawn on the board in red, that's our transversal, and that is the line that goes through the other two. You can see that we have created a bunch of angles here and we learned how to name them. Okay, so for example, the first one that we're going to start with is corresponding. Remember in class we talked about how corresponding means in the same position. So if I zoom in here and I look at this group of four, if I take angle 2 happens to be on the top of this X. So I need to figure out what angle corresponds or matches up or is in the same exact position in that group of four down here. I believe it's 6. See how they're in the same position, 2 and 6? Another option would be 4 and 8 because those are both on the right-hand side. Another option would be 3 and 7 because those are both on the bottom of the X. And then as you can see, the last one would be 1 and 5 because those are both on the left-hand side. So those are our 4 pairs of corresponding angles. Remember, corresponding means in the same position. And we're looking at like groups of 4 in order to do that. Alternate interior and alternate exterior. So the interior angles are in here. The exterior angles are out here, and alternate means on different sides of this line. So our alternate interior angles are 3 and 6, that's one pair. Another pair of alternate interiors is 4 and 5. They are on opposite sides of the transversal, and they are interior of the two other lines. Same thing for alternate exterior. They are on alternate sides of this line, but exterior would be 1 and 8. That's one choice. Another one is 2 and 7. And then the other two were same side interior and same side exterior. So same side means on the same side of this line. Here is a pair of same side interior. Here is another pair of same side interior. Same side exterior would be this one and this one. They're on the left-hand side of that blue line, and they're exterior. The right-hand side of the blue line is those two, and they are also exterior. Remember that this is interior, everything else is exterior. So those are our 5 different vocab words that we learned in class today. What is all of this? Let me show you. I first want to start by identifying some of these angles. Can you identify the vocab word, we practiced this yesterday, that these two angles are? Let's see, are they same side? They are both on the left-hand side of my transversal, but this one is interior and this one is exterior, so I can't call that. Oh, these are the ones that are corresponding. They're both on the bottom left-hand position of the group of 4. These are corresponding angles, so I'm going to write that. That's the first thing that I have to do, and I will fill in the angle measure in a second. Let's just practice naming them real quick. They're both interior, so that's good, and it looks like they are on the same side of the transversal. They're both on the left. So it's going to be same side interior. That's how we're going to name this one. I'll fill in the angle measure in a second. Let me just do a couple more. Let's see, here is interior. So these are both exterior. Okay, great. And they are on opposite sides of the transversal. One's on the left, one's on the right. So I believe this is alternate exterior. It's okay if you want to abbreviate stuff. I just want to make sure I understand what you're abbreviating and like what you're talking about, okay? These are both interior angles, and look, once again, they're on different sides of the transversal. One's on the left, one's on the right. So these are going to be alternate interiors. Okay, cool. Now what I want to do is I'm going to figure out these angle measures. This is actually like pretty cool and pretty fun, I think. I want to remind you some stuff that we tested over last chapter. 120 degrees is right here. Do you know how much this angle is? Do you remember the bow ties? Vertical angles? So I'm pretty sure I can put 120 right here also. And then what do you remember about a straight line? How many degrees? 180. So if you know this, you should be able to subtract that from 180 to figure out what goes here. And I believe that is 60. I also have this straight line. It works this way too. If you know this angle, you subtract from 180 and you get 60. So whichever line you look at should be fine. And now I think I know if this is 60, this is 60. I have another bow tie. Do you remember the bow ties? 60 and 60. Okay, great. And the great, awesome thing is if you have these lines, somebody asked this in class the other day. Those two arrows right there tell me that these two lines are parallel and they will never touch. So all four of these angles can be copy pasted right here. Isn't that cool? So I'm going to copy paste 60, 120, 60, 120. One thing to make sure is that your angles should always be alternating. 60, 120, 60. I wrote it wrong. Dang it. Sorry about that. They should always be alternating. That's why I was checking it, I guess. 60, 120, 60, 120, 60, 120, 60, 120. And make sure your vertical angles are always equal. These are always equal. These are always equal. Those are equal. And we should never have two angles right next to each other that are the same number unless they're 90. Okay, so to figure out the measure of angle 1, the angle that they're asking me, well, I wrote it right here. It's 120. Let's try another one. This is 80. I'm also going to put 80 here because of the vertical angles. Do you remember the bow ties? I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to make a bow tie out of it. Those are 80. And I see a straight line. So if one angle is 80, that means the other one's 100 because I know they're supposed to add up to 180. And I could also look at this line if I wanted to. Either way, you get the same answer. A straight line equals 180. And if this is 80, that means when you subtract, this has to be 100. And I have another bow tie angle. If that's 100, this is 100. And because I have these two parallel lines, which is really exciting, that means that I can copy paste these and put them down here. So I'm going to put 100 here, 80 here, 100 here, and 80 here. And I'm going to make sure they alternate. 180, 180, 180, 180. Nailed it. All my vertical angles match up. These vertical angles match up. And this is asking me for angle 5, which I wrote 100. Love to see it. Let me do these last two and then we'll be done. Alternate exteriors. Let's see, I'm first noticing that I have a bow tie, so I'm going to put the 55 in where it belongs. And I also notice that I have a straight line here. I know a straight line adds up to 180. So if I have 55, that means that I have, let's see, is it 125 when I add up to 180? Yes. Yeah. So I've got 180 degrees there. I could also look at this line, 180 degrees. Either way you look at it, you got 125 there. And now I have another bow tie. So I'm going to put the 125 here. And because I have these parallel lines, which is super awesome, I can copy paste this and put it down here. And let's make sure all of our numbers alternate. So I got 125, 55, 125, 55, 125, 55, 125, 55. Okay, great. Make sure they alternate and make sure all of your vertical angles match up. These are vertical, and this question is asking me for angle 1, which I have written down 55. Last one, I see another bow tie. I've got 35 here, so I'm going to put 35 here. And I'm pretty sure if I can add up to 180 degrees, if I subtract 35, I get 145. You could also look at this straight line. No matter how you look at it, they equal 180 degrees. So if you know one of the angles, you should be able to figure out the other one by subtracting. and that gives me 145 here also. And because I have these two parallel lines, that means I can copy paste this up here into this group of 4. So I am going to go 145, 35. This one is 145. This is 35. This is 145, and this is 35. And they're asking me for angle 1, which is 35. Thanks for watching. We're going to practice some more in class now. Love you guys.